If you are laying in your bed right now, scrolling through your phone and not actually living your life, well, this one is for you because I've been there and let me tell you how I got out of it. So, welcome, beautiful souls. This is Wade and Wonder. My name is Shauna. And if you are navigating through big life changes, then this is a safe space for you. Whether you are in between jobs, in between figuring out who you are and who you're becoming, or even trying to figure out what your dreams are. This is your safe space, and everyone is welcomed here. I just want to start by saying that I quit TikTok because it was affecting my mental health. And I'm not saying that social media is bad whatsoever. I'm not saying that TikTok is inherently bad because TikTok was actually one of my favorite places to be and to be on. But it also caused me not to live my life because I was too busy living everyone else's life that I wasn't living my own life. And that was a really hard pill to swallow. And I don't know if any of you guys are feeling that way, but sometimes when you're on there, you don't really realize it, but you're living vicariously through other people and not taking responsibility for your own life. Because the hours that I was scrolling on TikTok, I could have actually been planning my exit from my job. I could have been reading more, looking for new jobs, doing other things that would have brought more clarity to my life. But instead, I was mindlessly scrolling through TikTok. And I think a lot of us, that happens to a lot of us, where we're just mindlessly scrolling through and not recognizing that we need to get up and do something, and we can't just sit here through our phones and expect changes, because that's what I did. I lay in my bed and scroll on TikTok and hoping that the heavens will open up, I should say. The heavens will open up and then everything would be great. I didn't have to work hard. I didn't have to do anything. Life's just going to happen when it happens. And everyone's talking about manifesting and doing all of these things. And even all of that, I still didn't take heed to any of that, or even, praying and all of that. I didn't never take heed. I just always never lived my life. I lived it through the screen, and I never took a step, and I would be mad at other people for taking steps that I could have taken. And so that's just what made it really hard. I quit social media before. I went on a very long hiatus, about a year and a half, and it was so good for me and I enjoyed it. But then I decided, hey, let me pop back in. And at that time, IG and Facebook and I believe Snapchat was like really popular before I had left. And I decided to like pop back in. And when I got to IG, it was a no go. Like, it felt the vibes are off. I didn't really like it. And then I went to Snapchat. It was Ghost Town, and Facebook was always Facebook. And so literally I decided to like just forget it. And then I remember talking to my sister and I was like, why is like everything so different now that I'm back? And she was like, girl, that's because everybody's on TikTok. And I was like, a tick who? I was like, I'm an old person. Like, what? And she was like, it's TikTok. Like, you got to join. You'll like it. And so I decided, like, okay, let me just download this little app and see what's on there. And that turned into years later me watching TikTok for 3 to 4 hours of my life because I was super depressed at that job. And the only mental capacity I did have was to lay in bed and scroll through TikTok. Like, that's all that I had the mental capacity to do. And that's what I did. But also, TikTok drained me mentally. It honestly would consume my entire life, that to the point of where I hated my job already and I basically hated life. And so TikTok was like an outlet for me that didn't feel like a big commitment. Let me know if you feel the same way, okay? About like TikTok, having a commitment when you're already going through stuff felt like a lot. So, like, watching even YouTube videos because they were long form content, it was hard for me to commit to anything that was long form in any sense of the word. So I avoided that. So let me know if that's why you guys like TikTok or like YouTube shorts or whatever. Let me know in the comments, because I felt like long form content or long form anything was too much. And so I didn't do it, right? Like I couldn't do it. And so TikTok was easy. I was getting my short, dopamine fixes, and it brought happiness, but also excuse me, it brought happiness and joy, but also it brought a lot of self-hate, because I was comparing myself to everybody's like highlights of their life, right? Because people have 5 a.m. routines and I can barely get out of bed in the morning, right? Because I literally hate my job. People are traveling, experiencing, and having a great time, and then you get all the advice, right? All the advice on TikTok that is so confusing. Some people say quit your job, some say don't quit your jobs. Some say figure it out, and some say don't figure it out. I don't know. Like the advice was just so much. And then TikTok became very polarizing and you couldn't have an opinion, and if you did, people would get upset with you. I mean, I was watching a video where a lady literally says, I'm praying for a healthy baby, and people went off on her for saying she, God forbid, someone wants a healthy baby. And I was getting all my news from there. And I also wasn't like necessarily really like doing due diligence and actually checking all the news articles, doing all of that stuff. I didn't do any of that. Like I kind of just was like, I would see a video. I don't necessarily know I would believe it, but I'd see it and then I'd, be like, okay, whatever. And then I see another video with saying like the opposite of what that video said. And it became too much. And I was already going through a lot mentally and I didn't need the extra confusion from TikTok. And so I decided like, let me quit TikTok. Okay. I already had quit my job, and right away I felt better from quitting my job, but I felt even better after quitting TikTok. I was so happy when I did leave, because I stopped comparing myself to other people. Like, I felt like a horrible mother. I felt like a horrible wife because I'm not up in the morning making my husband, you know, lunch to go to work every day. And yes, I have done it, but I don't do it every single day. And I see women doing that. And I see moms making these beautiful lunches for their kids every day. And I'm like, they're lucky if, I made some sandwiches, Like I was like just really depressed in my own life, and watching TikTok actually made that even worse, because I see all these people doing these things that at the time I was incapable of doing, and it made me feel even horrible. And if I did go out with my friends and family, I was on my phone like 90% of the time, just scrolling through, because honestly, being around them made me feel more of like a failure. And so I wanted an outlet, which was TikTok. But then it was also the thing that brought me down too. So it was just really confusing. And like I said, when I decided to quit, it was really hard. Like I had withdrawals. Like I didn't even get that with work. Like when I quit work, I was like, "Ooh, thank God." I wasn't really sad about it. I was really happy. But quitting TikTok, I had some real withdrawals, and that let me know that I was addicted, because I could not even function. Like I wanted to re-download the app. I was like, "Oh my God," trying to figure out, like trying to occupy my brain so I wouldn't think about getting on TikTok. Like TikTok had me in a chokehold, you guys. And that's an addiction that I didn't even know that I had, but I was addicted to TikTok. And it wasn't good for me, like any addiction. It was not good. But yet I was still out there, wanting it so bad. I was craving it. Like I felt like I was doing, some type of, substance because I was hooked and I wanted it so bad. I was fiending for it really bad. But once I got over that, I think the initial first like 2 to 3 weeks were the hardest, which is normal and trying to get over anything. Was like by the fourth week, I felt really good actually. I felt really clear. I was reading more and being really attentive and actually being able to remember stuff, because I will say that short form content kind of messed with my attention span because it was even harder to read books when I quit my job and quit TikTok. I was reading, but my attention span wasn't great because I had to go back and reread what I had just read because I wasn't so used to doing anything in long form. And so I had to go back. And then now I was like, no wonder why I was struggling at work. But now I'm doing that really good now. I'm really working on just being present in the moment. Like I said, like being with my family and not scrolling on my phone, not constantly checking my phone, not constantly filming every aspect of my life and wanting to post it. And I don't do that anymore. Like, yeah, I do take a video, like probably in the beginning of it and maybe like of the food, but then I put my phone down and I am looking directly into their eyes. And I've learned so much more about my own family members and how they used to say how much I was in my phone, and I didn't even realize that. And so it's good to have mental clarity. Like, I'm becoming the person that I want to be. Like, I have read so many books, like I stated in my first video, that changed my life. And in another video, I will actually like talk about the actual books that have really changed my thought process, who's making me become a better person. And I am a Christian, so I've been reading my Bible more, which was really hard too. Even though I was consuming some type of Christian content on TikTok, the problem with that is even that was polarizing in itself. And so I was even confused about that. And what I've learned is that God is not the author of confusion. And so I knew from there and I had to go. And so that's literally how it was. And so I backed off. And like I said, I'm reading my Bible more. I'm walking in the mornings. I'm spending time with my kids. I'm having fun with my kids. I'm doing arts and crafts, even though they're older now, they're 12 and 13, but I still like to do little experiments and cooking things with them. And I don't feel the need to have to post all of that. And I don't feel the need to have to compare myself and say, oh, well, she's doing that, this, and I'm barely doing that. And now I'm just having fun. I'm having fun with my husband and not comparing our marriage and comparing him. Like, I'm getting mad at him for not being the man that there are on TikTok. And he's like, why are you upset? Because we didn't have these problems. And I started to question my marriage, and it had only to do with what TikTok had said what a man should be and what it was. And my relationship wasn't great, that's what it was telling me. But my marriage is fine and my husband is amazing and he's always been amazing, but it made me second guess my own marriage. And so, at that point it's like I have to do something, and that's why I quit. And do I think about going back? I mean, yeah, there's times like with anything that you miss it and you're like, dang, I kind of want to go back because I did learn a lot on TikTok. Like I don't want you guys to think I didn't love TikTok because I learned a lot on TikTok. I actually learned how to how to clean. Okay, really good. I learned how to cook different things. I loved little cat videos, my giraffes. I love giraffes. I got to watch those videos. So I really did enjoy TikTok, but I wasn't necessarily happy to be on there all the time. And so, with that, I just want to say so if you are stuck in that soul cycle of just scrolling through TikTok and just trying to figure out your life and not actually live it, then just take a little break from social media, even if it's for a day, even if it's just for a few hours when you normally would get on. And I'm telling you, you will see so differently. You will see the world a lot differently. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for listening and waiting through this video and waiting through life with me. And I wish you guys all nothing but happiness and success.